of the reserve to down payment on the ladder truck, which is the biggest purchase, the most expensive truck to buy. And then the rest of it came out of taxpayer funds.
So do you think that when I look at the general fund and what we have, do you think I guess it's going to take, we're going to have to order and probably put 50% down, right? So I'm thinking probably sometime before we end this fiscal year, we're going to put a deposit down, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the $1 million is a placeholder. We haven't built, we haven't gotten a truck build, we haven't gotten a quote.
Right. So do you think we'll have enough excess in the general, to use excess in the general fund just to pay for that fire truck instead of incurring basically 64% of what we're bonding for in interest payments over 25 years?
So the word excess is a little misleading.
Okay, sorry.
It's fund balance.
Okay, fund balance.
And I think you would, because you could use that fund balance for one of two things. You can use it to reduce taxes, or you can use it to pay for an expense. So yes, I think I'm confident in saying that we could use fund balance to pay for the fire truck if that's the way you all want to go. I just included it here based on comments by a board member at previous meetings.
Could I just mention, just based on the numbers that you gave, which are estimates, of course,
Obviously.
this 646 plus the $1 million basically comes to $67,000 a year. Have this fire truck on hand.
So the first year, the principal payment would be $23,200, and the interest payment would be $42,500. And then obviously the principal payment will increase over the term of the bond, and the interest rate would decrease over the term of the bond. The reason I, again, included it is because the more money you borrow, the better interest rate you're going to get.
Understood. And in this case,
but
we're
again,
only
you would
talking
end
about
up paying almost $1.7 million for this truck.
Right. But it's basically $70,000 a year that will be paid for by the taxpayer that's enjoying the benefits of that truck.
Well, I think by reserving, we're also doing, in essence, doing the same thing. And that $150,000 is being invested by our treasurer and earning a return, right?
Correct.
I'm not arguing with
I'm just,
150. I'm just saying that this particular truck looks like it's only going to be about $70,000 a year.
Over 25 years.
right.
But then in 7 years, another fire truck needs to be purchased because of the NFPA 20 to 21 year plan. So every 7 years, we have to buy a new truck. Yeah, and there's a 2-year build time, just like one of the items we're buying for Mickey in this bond, the VAC truck. That's got about, what did you say, about 18 months? By the time you order it and you get it. Yeah.
So how much, if we don't borrow the $1 million, what is the impact on the interest rate?
Well, that I really wouldn't know until we actually shop out.
Okay.
I can't predict what banks are going to bid on us. Obviously, the more we're borrowing, the bigger banks will bid on us. When we did the small ban for Amdur Park, we only had one bank bid on us because it was less than $500,000. So we're paying a 8-point-something interest rate on that, which is why we're including that in this other item. I don't think $1 million is going to make a huge difference in the interest rate that we're going to get if we're going to do $11 million or $10 million. We also don't have to borrow the money even if you adopt the bond resolution. We don't have to borrow that $1 million if we decide not to. This just allows you to do it because it starts a clock, a 60-day period, and then we can't borrow anything within that 60 days. So for a permissive referendum, yeah.
I mean, I personally think that for the fire truck, I think we should use the fund balance and not incur the $600,000
I agree wholeheartedly.
For interest, but that's just my opinion. If the rest of the board feels otherwise, then
I agree as well. I wish Mickey had more of a fund balance, but the sewer does not earn money, so
the cold
he doesn't.
From Mickey
come
Phillips.
on, Mickey, come on.
I know. It is. You're a bleeding sieve of money.
I agree. If you asked me my opinion as your treasurer with my 27 years experience, what we would do, I would say use fund balance. However, I included it here to take into account comments made by all the trustees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say that again.
This really was thrown.
Or one big ladder truck. Yeah.
Or one big ladder truck, again, yes. But then remember, in 7 years, are we going to bond that truck again? It's kind of, I mean, I understand when Trustee Fryban, you said about future people paying for trucks. However, by us doing that 150,000 commitment to the reserve fund for the truck, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like we're earning money on that we're earning interest revenue on that money rather than paying interest on that money, in my opinion.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Did I get to? Well, you're an
Right.
accountant. Of course it makes sense to
What
you.
I'm going to do to move this along is I'm just going to have the village clerk do a roll call, determine whether they approve of the bond resolution for the fire truck or nay. So, starting with Trustee Fryban at the end.
Trustee Fabro?
Oh, you're doing it.
Trustee Farrelly?
You don't have to do it, by the way. Just because you approve it doesn't mean you have to do it. So after the 60 days, we can reevaluate. But if you don't adopt the resolution, you can't.
Trustee Suriello next.
Trustee Suriello?
No.
Trustee Farrelly?
No.
Mayor Giacomazzo?
No. Okay. That's the finality of village business. And we move on to our favorite portion of the program tonight, public comment. And let me just say for the record, Oreo Coca-Cola, it's addictive.
Every time I look,
It really, really, honestly, is so good. I'm going to leave it up here, and hopefully Coca-Cola will come in and give us, like, we can buy the truck with product placement. Anyway, public comment. And it's gone. All right, starting in the front row. We'll go row one. Anyone with public comment? Jimmy Ning, Highland Mills.
Jimmy Ying, Highland Mills. So first off is 12 more days before Election Day. What you guys did today for sewer and in the past for water and buildings and everything else is why, I'm sure by now everyone knows I'm outspoken to re-elect Vic and Sue. You guys do what needs to be done. You guys make the hard decisions. And honestly, at the end of the day, you're doing what's best for Woodbury. There's no self-serving. There's not, all these other issues going on. It may not be popular with some people. I mean, you're gonna piss somebody off. But for the homeowners, for the residents that live here, that's who you're making these decisions for. And I thank you for that. I did not vote in Queens. I wasn't even registered to vote. I paid no attention to it.
Really?
None whatsoever. But I come here and last year's election was a learning experience. Look at the numbers, you saw certain things, certain voting districts, precincts, whatever you want to call it, swayed the election. We sit here, deny it, pretend it doesn't exist, but it's the truth. There is a special interest bloc that controls these elections for a while. But the Woodbury resident bloc is the largest, strongest bloc in Woodbury. When I started being vocal, I would get a little like here, a little like there. I see the usual names, Maria, Martha, whatever. But wow, less than 2 weeks out, I got so many new names. I see so many new faces. Woodbury's engaged, they're active. I see Woodbury residents out here. Everyone cares. They heard about the sewer moratorium. Wow, that's sexy. Let's come out and show up at that meeting. But no, we did. Because what I heard at the planning board meeting, Woodbury Commons overwhelmed the meeting. We were not there, we didn't speak up. But this resident bloc, I am counting on to vote and reelect Sue and Vic so that they continue doing what they need to do. There will be a meet and greet on October 29th. Chamber of Commerce sponsored at St. Pat's at 6 o'clock, I believe. If you have any questions for any of the candidates, go there and ask. If they care, they'll be there. They're not gonna hide. For me, what you say and what you don't say says a lot about you. Whether you show up here or not says a lot. For you to run for a position for village trustee and not show up for today's meeting to listen to the residents, what are you campaigning for? And we've had that in the past. People who run for office sit at home, they want to throw stones, but they're not there with the residents. This is not easy coming out here. I'm sure we all have family, kids, and things to do. Thursday night, after 9, we're here. For a candidate not to be here says a lot. What was it? Was it this week? They announced Clovewood, South Blooming Grove. What you guys have done for sewer, water, and everything else, you are preventing South Blooming Grove. But the DEC has abandoned South Blooming Grove, has abandoned this area. But what I hear is it's not over. We have a shot. So I am imploring the village board to draft what you need to draft. I will be at the town meeting with the same thing because they are not a walled city. Between their runoffs, between everything they do, it's gonna affect us. And it is. You are our leaders. You have to be you are our voices. And if you don't speak up, whether it's the school official, whether it's whoever it is, we need to stop Clovewood. We need for that to make sense. Developers, special interests. At the end of the day, when the residents speak up, we speak up to you. You are our voices.
Sounds familiar.
And I think with this turnout on a regular basis, it is. It's not the usual faces. I see all these new faces I don't know. And it's beautiful. Everyone's engaged, everyone's watching. Please speak up for us. Re-elect Vic and Sue.
Thank you, James. And you know what? You know what's sexy, ladies and gentlemen? Oreo Coke Zero. They'll find this video someplace and it'll go viral. They will give me money for it. Anyone else in the front row? Second row. Second row.
Good evening, everyone. Greg McLeod, Highland Mills. Sorry I was late. Kids, life, all that.
It's
it happens.
all good, Greg.
So, I'm an engineer licensed in the state of New York. So the infrastructure is important to me. You all just bonded a ton of money for a lot of infrastructure. It's important we get it right. Because I don't want to have this conversation in another 5 years or another 10 years or even another 20 years. I'm finally paying attention. I wish I were paying attention 6 months, a year ago. That's on me. The sewer is almost at capacity. There was a public hearing in the middle of the summer. 0 people showed up to comment. That's a problem. Maybe because it's election season, it's lit a fire under certain people's behinds, including myself. I'm trying to be more involved. I want to know what's going on. I want to put in my 2 cents where it makes sense. Because again, I do have some background in some of the engineering end of things, and it's important to get it right. I know these are tough decisions. I know it's tough to spend money, especially when it's the citizens' money and all our money. But I'd rather spend a little bit to prevent the challenges we see in the surrounding communities. Because when it comes to water, it comes to sewer, it's not just Woodbury. They're community resources, and they need to be shared in a way that's, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, equitable. Let's go with equitable.
Go with equitable.
And certainly, I applaud the board for preserving Woodbury's interests in making sure those resources available to us and our children and on down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else in row 2? No? Row 3. Moving right along. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Sure, and if I could offer you one and pass it down to your colleagues, please. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Sash Silvera, Highland Mills resident. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is not specific to Woodbury, but it's important and impactful to all of us across the state of New York. This is concerning proposal number 1 that we will all be voting on. It'll be on the back of our ballots. You got to flip it over on the other side of the candidates that we're
Sash,
engaged with.
Just face us, the board. They'll hear you.
So, sure. So the proposal number 1 is, you may hear it referred to as Prop 1 or the Equal Rights Amendment. Some people are calling it the Parent Replacement Act. It has a lot of names, but what it is it's our New York State Legislature's proposal to amend our state constitution. Article 1, Section 11 to be exact. This is our anti-discrimination clause. So it's a broad, vague amendment. I implore you all to pull it up and read it verbatim, just so that you're fully informed. But it seeks to enshrine 12 new protected classes into our state constitution. And there's another paragraph, paragraph B, that you will see no reference made to on the back of your ballot, which is a little deceptive. The elusiveness is deceptive. But I want you to pay attention to that because paragraph B is important. It dictates permission for discrimination to outlawing discrimination with discrimination. So please read that. It's very important. Why I personally am voting no on Prop 1. I encourage all New Yorkers to reject Prop 1. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be looking at you.
It's all good.
I'm talking to them.
It's all good.
But I encourage all New Yorkers to reject Prop 1. I'm going to tell you why. It's not because you're bigots. It's not because you seek to deny equal protections to any of the classes or categories that are being proposed. Prop 1 constitutionalizes discrimination in the name of equality. It endangers the status of women, it jeopardizes the well-being of children, and it threatens parental rights as well as religious liberties. Prop 1 seeks to drive a very destructive wedge between parent and child. This is sacred space. Prop 1 aims to compromise the integrity of the family by empowering the court. So amending our state constitution, I know the gentleman that spoke before me spoke about the level of engagement that many of us lack with our government and our civics. And constitutionality is one that we really lack a lot, but it's the highest and supreme law of this land. All other laws, state laws, regulations, statutes, are superseded by the constitutional provisions. So by empowering the courts, because whatever the new parameters of the Constitution will be, should New Yorkers blindly pass this proposal, would allow the courts to, with a broader scope and different levels of scrutiny, amend or weaken or completely repeal existing current laws, safeguards, and protections. Prop 1 threatens to strip parents of their fundamental right to make life-altering decisions for their children, undermining the foundation of the family unit. Prop 1 empowers judges to allow minors to participate in transgender medical interventions, which can have irreversible consequences. Prop 1 endangers religious liberties by allowing courts to impose and uphold policies that conflict with deeply held beliefs of families and religious communities. Prop 1 is essential. Rejecting Prop 1 is essential to preserving religious freedoms as well as parental authority. Prop 1 emboldens courts and bureaucratic agencies like NYSED, the New York State Ed Department, just to name one. Emboldens the courts to allow all sorts of things because with a new, broader lens and different parameters, these broad, vague amendments to our Constitution will have, the courts will have the authority then to change the laws that currently protect us. Right now, there are over 20 laws in the state of New York that protect all of the classes that are being proposed into our Constitution. The proponents of this amendment are saying that this is fear-mongering and this is not going to happen. They don't mention parental rights in the amended proposal. They don't mention abortion either, and they're saying it's an abortion amendment. Abortion exists nowhere in the language. So it's unreasonable to... It's disingenuous, not only unreasonable, it's disingenuous to say that the amendment will not impact parental rights, it will not impact girls' and women's spaces above and beyond sports. We're talking about spaces, could be dormitories, could be shelters, could be prisons. It's reasonable to be extremely concerned about Prop 1's real threats on parents and children. And quite honestly, where rights clash, because it carves out fundamental, again, the Constitution is supreme. It carves out fundamental rights for minors that are likely to clash with parental rights. Also, creating new rights for new entities like gender identity and gender expression that could also clash with religious liberties and other sincerely held beliefs that are also constitutionally protected. So when rights clash, the judiciary is who will engage in what's called a balancing test to determine which rights will prevail, who is more protected. And for me, this rejecting Prop 1 really isn't about not wanting any other New Yorker to have equal protections. Again, we already have equal protections under the law. This one is about rejecting government overreach. This is our legislature and our New York State government going a bit too far. Don't know if it's intentional, but if it's unintended, changing the Constitution requires strict scrutiny because to grant new rights at the same time encroaching on others and removing rights is not an equal rights amendment. So because in just my passings, coming and goings in the community, no one seems to be aware of Prop 1. No one seems to know that this is on the back of the ballot and the significance that it will have on our lives for generations to come. I felt it necessary, and I'm all over town, not just here. I'm raising awareness. Again, this is not to deny or be a bigot like I'm often called. This is because this is not New Yorker to New Yorker trying to deny anyone anything. This is our legislature who's accountable to us. We elect them to represent us and to honor the constitutions that already exist. So they're not doing that with this. And rejecting Prop 1 is the message to say, no, let's take another stab at this. Let's do this another way so that we can come to a solution, if necessary, that doesn't encroach or infringe on existing rights and protections. So thank you for your time. For more information, there's a very helpful resource on the cards that I handed out, protectkidsny.com. You can get a lot of info. Every Tuesday, next Tuesday is the last Tuesday before elections, but they do an info session on Zoom from 6 to 7, so it's live, you can talk, you can ask questions, but I encourage you to do your due diligence, and I hope that you vote no and reject Prop 1, just so that the legislature knows that they cannot keep doing this to us. We deserve better. Even the classes that they seek to protect, they're not protecting them. Thank you.
Thank you, Sash. Anyone else in row 3? Uh-oh. Row 2? No, you're going someplace else. Anyone else in row 3? Row 3 going once. Row 4. Row 5. Oh, You going up, Rhonda? There you go. You know the routine. Am I not?
Sorry, I can give it to you after. Is that okay?
That
Thanks.
works.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Fabro. I've been a member of this community for 55 years. I'm here tonight specifically to address Sue and Vic. I believe that it is important to always put your best foot forward, even when you are running for public office, and perhaps especially when you are running for public office. You say that you are running for the best interest of our village. You are both out there representing our community and doing good things, but you have adopted false information as part of your campaign. I spoke to you both last weekend at St. Pat's Church, and I told you that the information that is printed on your Facebook page is untrue. The Woodbury Democratic Committee, excuse me, one moment. Hi. The Woodbury Democratic Committee made a contribution to John U. Kellerman and Tyler Etzel of $1,500 from their account, the Committee to Elect Woodbury Democrats. This account is a political committee, not an individual account. I did not make a personal contribution, or any contribution for that matter, nor did anyone else in my family. And as a matter of fact, I did not even make a contribution or donation to my own son's campaign last year. He paid for everything himself. Another item on your list is that Tyler Etzel made a $1,500 donation to Matt and Jim's campaign. Funny thing about that, Tyler was actually running last year alongside them for mayor. His donation was for his own campaign, not theirs. How quickly we forget. Using information which has been twisted for your convenience so that you can bunch everyone together to tell a made-up story about your opponents and your peers on the board for campaign purposes. Sue, you say that you care about kids. Do you care about my kids? Because my kids are upset about the lies that you have on your page. I thought that you prided yourself on research and finding correct information. You've said this in meetings. Vic, you're part of the Knights of Columbus and claim to be a pious man, but you printed blatant lies about my family on your page. It is sad that this is what our community has come to. People slinging insults and making up stories on Facebook about people who have grown up here and care about our community. Lying about my family, saying that we made donations that we didn't make and that we own shares in an LLC that owns the golf course. Shame on everybody. This is some pipe dream. You need to re-examine what you have printed on your campaign page and be careful to use truthful information. I have sat through too many meetings listening to members of the community coming up to speak and persecuting people on the board for differences of opinion. I've seen trustees and the mayor use the same tactic. And then using this board as a campaign platform during election season, not in a positive way, but specifically to trash their opponents. This board is not a campaign podium. I'm here because I am a citizen of this community, and yes, I am Matthew's mother. And I want you all to know that I am nothing but proud, and pride is not a crime. This is not about party lines. It is about character and morality. Fight your fights, but do it with correct information, grace, and dignity. Please.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Rich. Oh, and this is Muslim afterwards.
Rich Cottaggio, Highland Mills. I have just two short items. One, I want to thank Maria Hunter for speaking up tonight about the sewer moratorium. As a past zoning and planning board member for 20 years, her facts and findings were right on point. Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. Number two, with elections coming up, less than 2 weeks, we also have HOA elections at Highland Lake Estates. And this week, sometimes candidates post things on websites or Facebook that's not true or misleading. And we received something this week from one of our board members, who I believe is a member of your ethics committee. And I say believe because I don't even know if there is an ethics committee. But Ray Torres sent us an email that he's been working with you on the takeover of Highland Lake Estate roads. I have a copy here I'll give you. In addition, he's posting on Highland Lake Estate's website for the complete, he's been meeting with you, and the meetings have been positive. And, I'm just curious. I mean,
Rich, how old is that? How old is that?
it's dated today.
Well, there's no such conversations going on because the village is not taking over Highland Lake Estates roads. We're not taking over their lighting. Your roads would cost the taxpayers of Woodbury roughly about $2 million. Okay.
I would agree with you, but the reason I'm here is it's elections, and I'd like to invite you to the meeting of Highland Lake Estate homeowners because you could see how misinformation gets out there from a candidate.
This is not misinformation we're putting out there, okay?
No, I'm talking about
So I don't know why.
a board member from our board. You could see the posting, you could see the email. So I'm just saying, Andrew,
This
we-
goes to, he says, has met with multiple town officials beginning in 2015.
that's the type of person, this is what he's putting out there. So I'm just saying, I agree with you, Andrew. I agree with you. I've been on the planning board for how many years?
I
know
understand
everything.
that, but-
So I'm just saying,
There
This-
are members of your board that want us to take over the roads that are not in
Well-
compliance with what, or standards that we have. They're too small.
yeah, I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
Members of your board have said to me that they plan on abandoning the HOA and forcing the village to take their roads on, which includes snow removal, and it includes
I agree.
the paving of your roads.
I agree. I am just here.
I know, I'm just
There's
saying,
misinformation going out to the homeowners. So all I'm asking is, we have two meetings. Monday, November 18th is a board meeting, or the community meeting, Monday, December 2nd. So I'm saying, I can't speak to them.
I have no issue going there,
Okay,
as you know. I'm
Okay.
an open book, I have no issue going there,
okay,
but we're not taking on your roads. So if
Okay.
the game plan for the HOA is to cease existence and then force the village to take on the roads, that's not happening.
okay.
Because I'm not going to put it on all these other
Yeah.
people, $2 million worth of, for your roads.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, I want to alert you, there's a lot of misinformation going out there by a board member that says he's constantly, read it, he's meeting with you constantly. Read it. That's an email and a page on Highland Lake Estates. So that's all I'm saying, Andrew.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead.
It doesn't say that you're meeting with
I know that. I know.
It's 2015, and that.
Hello again,
Yes.
and my apology. I just read the agenda, the minutes, and it says that when I came first, it says, on agenda only. I didn't see it. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
Yeah. So the public, I was saying, what I was saying is the issue that we have and how to, we do the Pledge of the Legion every time we get together. And we are saying that united, we stand. Divided, we're going to fall. That's what I'm saying. And for me, doing the research, seeing based on what I observe, what's going on in town, and as a member of community, being guilty of not being involved, so is a mutual thing that is happening. But past is past. Future, we can build it, but we can learn from the past. And one thing is about the matters of we are all intelligent, we are all have the heart. It seems the hearts are broken, or lots of things going on in town. So I went back, I said, let's go to when it started. And there was that in November 17, 2006, that Mr. Cruz, if I pronounce it right, talked about the vision. Any action we do, anything we do, we come up with the vision. And the vision was to maintain the services provided to residents through a combination of cooperative arrangement with the town board and the assumption of responsibility by the village board. We commit ourselves to preserve, and that's what you said, Susan, when you came to the senior center, to preserve and to protect. And it's good, to hear that, but those are the words that we say. Then the thing is, election is going to come and go. People are going to be elected or not. But we as a community, what we do with whatever we promise our constituent and what we do, that's what we should, continue working on that. And the interesting thing was when I was looking at that, going back to the minutes, there was this organizational business, the appointment of the village attorney and the village clerk. My question to you, Kelly, as a village attorney, I saw that I went through, when did you come on board? It seems the attorney has been the same firm from the beginning.
It has not.
No.
What was it? Tell me about
We had a
it.
2-year, 3-year period where it was,
Like a 4-year period.
it was Dennis Lynch, right? Was it Dennis Lynch?
And me personally did not start with the village until January of 2007.
Yeah.
The village was formed August 14th, 2006. Burke, Millie, and Golden came on board. We were gone for maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
And then we were rehired as Burke, Millie, Golden, and Naughton. And now it is Naughton and Torrey, and I am here.
So in a way, the names has changed, but you came on board around 2007. That means you are very familiar with the dynamic of what was going on, writing the comprehensive plan and also the code book, right? Am I correct? So you are very familiar, what was the dynamic going on. And so Richard Golden is the same attorney who is with the Orange County attorney who is in charge of the FOIL.
Charge of the foils?
FOIL meaning the freedom of, is it FOIL?
Yes, yeah, no, I know what a foil is.
He's not in charge of the foil.
Appeal, the appeal. He is somehow, I want to make sure that, who am I talking? What is his position in the Orange County? He is not with the board anymore, right?
No.
So you changed, now you have your own firm.
Yes, I have.
So Richard is not the same person that, because I got many of my information by, what do you call that, Desiree? Is it FOIL or FOIA? FOIL. Exactly, which is for the estate. So is he the same person?
It's the same individual, yeah.
And he is in charge of the information that is released to us. Then-
No, the county attorney. He's the county attorney. He is not.
Associated with the village anymore.
Not at all, but he is a county attorney. He is associated
He
with
works
the.
for Orange County?
That's it.
For the Steve Newhouse? No.
Okay, so maybe there is another thing. And what is interesting, Desiree, I have a question, that at that organizational business, the appointment, that was the village attorney and you, that this was in 2006. It says as the clerk / treasurer / record management clerk, right? And what is interesting, in 2006, when I look at how much the mayor is making is $4,000, the trustees are making $2,000, and the clerk is $4,000, and the treasurer $4,000. One of the things when I went to the budget when you say adopted budget means that is approved and done, right? When I go there, what is confusing me, and I'd really like the clarification, when it comes to the, and with all due respect for whatever knowledge you have for all these years that you have been working, but what confuses me when I go through the budget, see how the money is allocated, is first of all, on the site, the budgets are only for 2020 to 2024. So if I want the one before that, should I foil it?
I thought more years were on there, but they're also in the minutes. So if you look in the minutes of the village board meeting where the budget was adopted, which is historically in April, 2020, 2021. Up to present. So the budgets are printed in the minutes. So if you look in the minutes, they should be there. But if not, yes, you can foil it as well.
I can foil it. So I can look at it. So I'm not an accountant, and I'm not good in math. But as I was going through but the basic is you have a revenue, or what do you call that? The revenue, right? And you have an expense. And once you deduct that, that shows, how much you have. I was going through, these things, I don't know that much, but few things caught my eyes, and the way the money, the expenses, and I didn't know, Mayor, you're making $36,000. I thought you were making much more than that. Is it 36 or 40,000?
I look at the job as reward enough for the taxpayers of Woodbury. And Oreo Coke Zero.
I have to take a picture of that. And I've seen that. I mean, I admire that.
I'm roughly making about 3 cents an hour.
That's
so.
it. And you're the
good.
one who are willing to go to the meetings, listening to people, giving us the space. But when it comes to the village clerk for this year, for 2024, I see there are personal services. Some of them, there are large amounts that I go through that and catch my eyes. That there are personal services. How is that? Now you are the treasurer, right?
I am the treasurer, yes.
And what is it, let's say, is that public knowledge if I ask how much you make?
It is. I don't know off the top of my head because I don't have the paperwork that you have in front of you. But in the budget that you're looking at, that line item includes not just the village clerk and not just the village treasurer, but it also includes the deputy village clerk treasurer. So that's for 3 individuals.
So that's what confuses me.
Uh-huh.
Is that the way it's set up? Could it be, let's say if I want to know how much Desiree makes, how much...
Yeah, you can foil that.
We can. Is it there?
You sure can. You can foil that information. Just like all the personnel line items for all of the different departments includes everybody within that department.
I see. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. No, the other thing I noticed when the village was formed and all those, the attorneys were... The other thing is the attorneys at that time, they were making the highest money at that time. I'm going to get it. I mean, 220,000 or something, maybe because of what was going on. I'm going to foil it. But the most money was allocated to the, the clerk and the treasurer, as far as I know, but I have to do more research. And the attorneys were making much money. Is that because of what was going on for the different?
2007, I was an associate, so I didn't have that information. We don't make that now. So I don't know, maybe, I have no idea.
I see.
Maybe that was a budget line, but it wasn't
Yeah.
charged.
Yeah. What
I
is
wouldn't
it?
know without knowing what she's looking at either.
No, the question is, okay, I'm going to foil that and get the thing. The
Just keep in mind that there's a record retention schedule that we are required to follow from the New York State Department of Archives, which is governed under New York State education law. And a lot of records are only retained for 6 years. So if you're looking for records back from 2006, 2007, the budget I would have, because that's a permanent document, but actual invoices or expenditures back then are no longer held because they have exceeded the retention period.
No, it's okay as long as we have the general thing, and even with that would be good. I'm going to do it. And
Just
if I had-
letting you know that I don't know what you're going to be asking for specifically, but it could be, that the records don't exist anymore because they've exceeded retention period.
Let me ask you a question. When for 5 years they retain it, after that they get rid of it?
6 years
6
is
years.
the retention period for most documents,
I see.
and then they get shredded.
I see. That's interesting to know. Now, the other question to Kelly, as an attorney, writing the comprehensive, and I'm very happy that Tara is going to have the, that presentation, the PowerPoint. The changes in the comprehensive plan and the code book. There is an area that it talks about the appearance tickets. And we know the village has the authority to make the law and to execute the law. And this appearance ticket is given to people that in the resident of the community, that they violate something. What are the procedures there, and how far the attorney could go when resident violates something which is not according to the code?
Two things. The appearance tickets aren't discussed in the comprehensive plan. That's an enforcement issue that's referenced in the codes.
It is in the code.
Yes. It really depends on what the violations are, and
I did try. I was talking loud.
Yeah, but it doesn't pick up on the camera.
Oh, okay. So to go back, the appearance tickets are not referenced in the comprehensive plan. They're referenced in the code, and it really depends on what provisions were violated or to say which provisions of enforcement apply. I'm not sure specifically what portion of the procedure you're interested in. The procedures are set forth in the code based on the chapters that were violated.
Yeah, I have it in front of me. The question is, let's say if one of the member of the community, we had our business, the dealership, I think some of you knows, and there was a violation there, right?
Okay.
So you are warned to do just, whatever, but it went too far to the extent that we were called, it was going on too much. Our business, we started it at the time in 2006, 2007. We didn't know these things, and it coincided with what was going on with the village. That's why I keep asking these questions. And then it was in 29 or something, the accountant that we have, Stephen Strauss, was the informer for the government, for the FBI. And what bothers, what it is, the case that we had with the village, that village constantly bring us back and forth, just violating this on the assumption of the complaint of one neighbor that we had, and which was living in the residential and commercial, and that caused us, after 3-4 years, coming back, we were guilty, we were found guilty, and we had no other choice than moving it based on whatever was happening. It wasn't our right was violated. We took it to the town of Monroe, And then we were found not guilty. We had to take it out of this community, not the community, the village board. And they found, and basically, I have the transcript, I have all the facts, all the truths, and basically, this comprehensive plan and the code book that still you're talking about it, the changes in there, it wasn't that clear. That's what what we were accused of that, and the dealership is closed. My son is in jail because of the politics in the town, which, we are working on that. I'm not here to just do that. But the thing is, the question is, any attorney who is working for the village, could they present other people, other clients, as they are working for the village? And we are the resident of this community.
I can represent, first, one thing so that it's clear for the record. I know nothing about the FBI case that you just referenced, and I had nothing to do with it. Second thing is, I am allowed to have other clients than just the Village of Woodbury. I have numerous clients that I am allowed to represent at the same time as the Village of Woodbury. The only time I cannot represent somebody is if there's a conflict of interest. I am unaware of any conflicts of interest that we have had representing the village in the zoning enforcement that you're referring to.
So I know you were there, so you just started, but it was Michael Burke.
It was Michael Burke.
Michael Burke. This is, you guess.
Mrs. Muslim, I'm going to have you just,
That's
you
it.
have to
I
wrap
just-
this
I
up
just make
because
it,
you're
and
going back almost 20 years ago.
But Mayor Giacomo.
None of us were here. I didn't even live here at that point. So I just need you to get to what
The
gist
issue
of the matter.
is the division that exists between the town and the village, and what's going on. We were living here we are a member of the community. Maybe you came 20 years ago. I came 20 years ago too. I mean, the same. But what am I bringing it up is, if the community members are hurt, especially the young people, and the village, the member in the village, the member in the town, they're busy with their own, whatever the intention is, you have to be aware, because for me, I move out. If I see the community or the team, they are not listening, that's it. It's better for us to move on and move forward. But then I'm bringing it up not because of I don't know, whatever. But the reason I said, the other thing, I have a question for Maria Hunter. Can I ask her, or?
Ask her
You wanna
privately.
come there?
Yeah, no, you can ask her privately because it's not a public hearing. So you could go to her and whatever questions
It
you
is
may
in
have.
regard to the point that she made, that she's pro-business.
You can talk to her after the meeting, just because this is public comment to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bottom line is, when the village was established, 2006, one of the member of the public, was there any ethic committee? It was in 2007
2006?
that it was suggested to have an ethic committee. Does the village board?
I wouldn't be able to answer that. I have no clue if there was an ethics committee from 2006.
It was suggested to have. So
It
there
was
is
suggested, but if those trustees and the mayor at the time was probably Stephanie Weeks, it was upon them, or it was their duty, either to establish an ethics committee or not establish an ethics committee.
But the one that recently was established, it was initiation of this board, which
Yes.
we appreciated.
Yes. Yeah.
And it happened, and these are the good things. Okay, so I'm going to talk to Maria Hunter,
There you go.
based on that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you,
for
Mrs.
your-
Muslim. All right, Tommy, you gonna go up?
Tom Collins, Central Valley. I'm finding out that even trying to reach out to you, Andrew, about certain things doesn't always happen. I go on a system that I do not like, Facebook, and then other people chime in and agree with something that I see or complain about. And we'll get to the garbage. I drive by it every day. 3 weeks now, There's a place right before, I forget the number of the house, I think it's 632, Route 32. There's been a mattress right on 32, the edge of the driveway. Okay, wait, whoa, come on, I don't interrupt you. But that's been there 3 weeks or more, all right? Then you go down a little further, and you got the garbage cans down by the old Savory Grill or Who's or whatever you want to call it now, that is constantly being turned over by the animals. All right, somebody there does their job and cleans it up. But you go a little further to the other side of the thruway, and there's garbage put out there because the house is not a single-family residence. And John, I know you got here. I complained about SROs before you got here, and it was falling on dead ears, and I told Andrew I'd give you a couple months. But, you know, it's getting annoying drive by and see garbage being blown out into Route 32 because of illegal housing, all right? It's a private house. It's listed on the tax roll as a private house, a one-family house. There's multiple people in there. Further on Route 32, there's another address, 1115 Route 32, that's an SRO. It's been divided into at least 14 different rooms on a 4-bedroom house, all right? And there's other ones. I could keep going, all right? And I just think that we have to start reining in these locations, all right? They're all being owned by certain people, and I can't be the only one that drives by and observes all this stuff on Route 32. But, you know, maybe because I stopped for the school buses, or, you know, my granddaughter asked me, Pop, what's going on? How come all the garbage is in the street? But that's my biggest thing. I asked you back last September about zombie poles on Summit Avenue, on Dunderberg. They're still there. You know, there was discussion about a certain group of people that had a line going down there that they would be the last ones. Well, I like to tell you, Andrew, they moved their shit already. All right, they moved their stuff already. So it's either the phone company or the cable TV that's power cables is still there. Now, according to the code, the village code there, they should be fined for every day that they haven't been moved. That's over 3 years now that those poles were put in the ground there. 3 years. We could have been making a nice collection that could be used towards the new fire truck that they want. All right? So, you know, and then the parking lot back here. This is a municipality building here. How about putting some lights back there along the parking lot, the entranceway? It's kind of dark, and it's really needs to be addressed. All right? And that's my complaint. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
You're up.
Last but not least, Maria Hunter. I do want to thank the building department and the refuse department. I did make a complaint about the mattress, which was out there for 4 weeks. It's being taken care of. I want to thank the mayor for taking care of the furniture, which I originally called him by Troutbrook. Thank you for taking care of that. When we put complaints in, we have to file a complaint with our name, our address, our phone number, because it has to be legitimate. It has to be legally submitted. Then the boards, whether it be the town board, the village board, the building inspector's department, then they can take care of this. I've learned the hard way sometimes, but I'm getting there. Couple things. I know it's election time, we have 2 weeks to go, but tonight was not the night to listening to political stuff. I'm sorry, but to air out our dirty laundry in a public meeting has to stop. If there was an issue, a meeting could have been asked between the mayor and the 2 Republican trustees who are running for office. If there was an issue being on Facebook, meet with them. You don't have to air out your laundry. A Facebook page was put up from the village of Woodbury about the ethics committee. They forgot to put ethics committee members appointed. and how the vote was. Again, a trustee went on and aired the dirty laundry, complaining about it. That's not what we're here for. To me, it's dirty laundry. Shake your head. I don't care. I didn't mention names. Another thing. Town board meeting last week. Every one of those board members complained about the IMA with the village. That this board is putting the residents at risk because you're not going forward with the IMA. The police can't can patrol the village roads. This is what I'm hearing. The court can't have the building inspector to go to court anymore because your village, their town. Are we at risk because it hasn't been answered yet? I don't want to see it. The village is the village, the town is the town, and let's stop this already. I am tired of the nonsense, the petty nonsense, the town board, all the members, because it's an election year, went after this board because 2 of the members were running for office. Yes, I am the treasurer for the 2 residents, the trustees that are running. But let me tell you something. I run a clean campaign, management-wise. I don't go out and I don't complain about everybody. My opinion is my opinion. I get it. And I know I'm ranting tonight, but I've had it. 2 weeks, I can't wait for it to be the Wednesday morning at midnight. I need to know, are we at risk if the IMA doesn't go through? The police cannot patrol our roads anymore, the village roads?
No, rest assured, listen, if you saw the town board meeting decided to threaten my residents at that meeting by saying this, that, and the other thing would not get done. Rest assured, everything will get done, okay? Meaning, the police will still continue to assist my building department in violations. Foils will still be filled, okay? What else did he go on about?
The court, that you can't go to court for your issuing of the violations.
Violations will still go to court, okay? We, the village, will provide to the town salt when the snow comes. They will continue, though they threatened they wouldn't, which would be a risk to children and people about not shoveling sidewalks. That will continue, okay? It may not continue with the town, because apparently they decided, as Maria said, to use an election year to bring this up. Rest assured, they will continue to gas their trucks at the highway department. They will continue to, the building and grounds guys will continue to gas their vehicles at our highway department. This will continue, okay? It is not, okay? Not. I am not accepting it. I was a little taken back that they would use our residents and an election year to do this.
I guess our town board member was upset with my comments. I'm sorry.
No, it was
residents.
my comments. It's my comments because
Okay.
I'm at fault.
Well, I'm sorry I brought it up, but
Thankfully,
I know better
I have
what is covered.
Oreo Coke Zero to
And
make
you
me
forgot to
happy.
bring us, everyone. You know, I'm saying these comments tonight. I've been politically involved for the last 35 plus years. I've been under tutelage for 27 years of how the town and the village run, planning board. I know the answers. I know how to research. People have got to start looking out for themselves. And it's just becoming a point where Woodbury is coming stronger, I get it, but sometimes you have to look at the stuff before you put it out there, because sometimes there's history behind things, and enough. Sunday starts early voting. We all go to Monroe, is our closest area.
Saturday.
Yeah.
26, sorry, I don't even know what the days are anymore.
October 26th through November 3rd, everyone.
There you go.
Thank you for interrupting. Also, the chamber, meet the candidates at the gymnasium at St. Pat's. The 31st, the chamber-sponsored trunk or treat. You don't have to be a business to come down and have a trunk. The children love it. Everyone is invited to come out there. Come out with enough candy for at least 1,000 kids, and the adults. Bring dog biscuits for the dogs that come in. A reminder, Election Day, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. The Senior Center, Ed Center, Central Valley Firehouse are your polling locations. If you don't know what they are, excuse me? What am I going to talk about if you're doing all that? You're the treasurer. You shouldn't be talking about that anymore. If you don't know where they are, you have a very well-versed village clerk who can answer your question, or the town clerk. So let's all, this is the last meeting that this board will have before the election. The town board's going to have one more meeting before the election, right? Or wrong? No, the
Nope.
dates are different. So this is the last meeting that all arms, everyone can come out fighting. And we got to stop. If, like Mr. Jimmy here says, we all have to come together as a family, as a block of votes, you got to put everything aside. Because when you're sitting in the audience listening what's going on and reading what's going on and listening to people who ask, Maria, what's going on? I tell them my opinion. I don't tell them yours or yours. I tell them my opinion. And that's all that matters anymore.
Thank you, Maria. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, department comment. Mickey Phillips. John. Jason, you want to add anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Jason is our special guest this evening. Village Treasurer.
Yeah. So Town Clerk Nicole Young asked me to talk about early voting, which Maria already did. She asked me to remind everybody who usually votes in the St. Patrick's Church Gymnasium, you will now be voting at the Monroe Woodbury Education Center. Last meeting, I did mention about Prop 1 to remind you all to turn your ballots over. I did say I wasn't going to say how I would vote, but I suggest you all be educated. So it's great to have a resident speak at the meeting this tonight and really forum everybody about what Prop 1 is. And sure, I'll say it, I'm voting no. So our tax collector, Claudia, has been working diligently to send out receipts. I don't know if you all know this, but New York State law requires that everybody who pays property taxes get a receipt in the mail. So all of those individuals that have escrow with your bank and your bank paid your taxes, this week you will be getting in the mail your receipt. Please don't come and try to pay it. Please don't call us and yell at us thinking you're getting another tax bill. There's this red stamp on it that says paid. We've already gotten a couple of calls, so that's just that. On November 9th at Earl Reservoir is the annual Polar Plunge. Registration is 9 to 11. The plunge will be at noon. And this year, if you donate $10 or more to Team Woodbury, you will be entered into a drawing for a $25 Adams gift card. And I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Confidential advisor to the mayor.
Thank you. This is on. Yes. Monday, 7 o'clock here, land use open house. So there will be a presentation by 2 members of the planning board, 2 members of the zoning board, about the process of land use in the village of Woodbury. So to echo many of the sentiments here tonight about education, this is an opportunity for the residents to educate themselves on some very important things that may affect our quality of life, i.e. development. So come, bring pastries, as the mayor would say. And one comment I will say, and I won't get specific, but I think something was said tonight about, I have to go back to my notes because I want to say it verbatim, correct information being put out there and exhibiting grace and dignity. And I will just say that is a two-way street. And families are often hurt when lies are spread and when people's character are questioned. So I will just leave that out there so that that should be something that everybody, both board members and residents alike, take to heart. And it's not just somebody who would put it out there for all to see. It happens all the time. It happened by somebody on this board to someone I'm very near and dear to. And I will say it's awful. It's awful. It's an awful feeling, especially when young children are involved and do hear certain things. So I will just say, both sides of the aisle, keep it above board and do your homework. Have a lovely evening, Woodbury. Happy Halloween and stay safe.
Thank you, Tara. Kelly? Nada? Jessica?
No, thank you.
You're done. Trustee Fryban.
think the only thing I wanted to sort of reiterate is the issue of the IMA. The election will be over. I think it's essential that the draft be circulated to the board members and that we have an opportunity in November to go over this so it's clear that we, both the town and the village, understand where we stand in terms of who's doing what in terms of services to the community. And happy Halloween. And frost tomorrow.
Frost here, he's right. Yeah, temperature's gonna drop. Yep. Yep. Weatherman Jim Fryban.
Bundle up, everyone.
There you go. There he is. Meteorologist. There you go. Even better.
First, I'd like to start by talking about the Clovewood project. I can't believe the DEC has done what they've done, and I'd like to encourage our board to continue to fight against that disgraceful mistake that they have made there. I just can't believe that that's happening. Moving on to the ethics board that briefly appeared before with Maria's comments. Those were comments made on Facebook on the village board page in response to misinformation. You said that it was a 3-2 vote. That was 5-0. I actually highlighted the minutes for you.
You did.
I did,
You
and I put it on the
voted down
page.
members of the board. So you saying that you voted
No,
for the
I'm
ethics
sorry.
law,
I'm sorry.
You did vote down the members of the board. So I don't know why you would even bring it up now.
And that was not a
Because it's
personal
fine.
comment on those members of the board. We had many applicants come up. We had, I believe, 7 or 8. We voted on them in private. We sent emails to Jessica, and then we voted on a slate. I didn't agree with the entire slate, so I voted it down. It wasn't a personal attack on those members as you tried to portray on Facebook. It wasn't about diversity of ethnicity or whatever you tried to say, something messed up.
Said diversity.
Yeah, diversity of their occupations, okay? And you twist the words. And honestly, I'm
Matt,
done
that
with it.
wasn't-
No,
you
I'm
never
sorry.
mentioned-
I'm
Matt,
sorry.
Matt, you never
We all
mentioned
talk on this
why
board
you
about
voted it
not fighting
So-
and keeping it above board. Slimy crap like that on Facebook isn't going to fly anymore. I'm sorry. Now, moving on. The Falkirk Golf Course, I do not own a percentage in any LLCs. My family does not own a percentage in any LLCs. That is blatantly false information. Wherever you hear it from, whoever you see spreading it, they are lying. Okay? Secondly, the Woodbury Democratic Committee made an endorsement this year of John and Tyler. They gave them money, yes, but that's what endorsed committees do all around the country, or that's what political committees do for their endorsed candidates all around the country. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a totally normal thing that committees do. Moving on, I'd like to reiterate, I ran for this office because I want to preserve Woodbury for future generations. And I mean that when I say it. Despite what you hear on the internet, despite what you hear on Facebook, people can have opinions. Sure, they're entitled to have them. I'm telling you mine, and I'm telling you from the heart, okay? I've worked with our Climate Smart Committee to promote sustainability and green energy for the past year. I voted to protect our natural resources. I voted to extend the water moratorium. I voted for the right of entry law to help with our code enforcement. I voted with this board to oppose a warehouse being constructed in Cornwall with the potential to bring more truck traffic to our roads. I even went to the Cornwall Town Board meeting with the mayor and Chris Gerver from the planning board. I've joined the board in signing a letter against the Clovewood project. I voted in favor of the Orange County Association of Towns, Villages, and Cities resolution supporting a land preservation bill for Orange County. And I voted to enter into conservation easements in this town and village to protect open space here in Woodbury. For further clarity, since I already see the rumors and the garbage flying around on the internet, I do not support any hypothetical annexation of Ace Farms. I do not support any high-density housing on the Falkirk property or anywhere in Woodbury. I am pro-preservation. Before people comment with more smears and lies, they should think of their own reputations and those of their publications and the things they put out on Facebook. Because when you repeat those lies, it doesn't just reflect badly on you, it reflects to our community. It reflects to your readers. And you should take them down for the sake of our community and for the sake of your readers, because it hurts your own credibility. With that, I apologize for making all these political comments. I know they're ugly. I know we don't like election season here, but we're almost through it. Have a good night, everybody, and happy Halloween. Thank you.
Trustee Cirillo.
I'm going to start on a lighter note. Okay. First, I want to thank the Golden Age Club for hosting Vic and I, allowing us to come in and talk to them. It was amazing how many seniors are engaged and kind of know what's going on, and the message we receive from them is protect and preserve Woodbury. So that was just because we're not having another meeting until mid-November. Cornwall's having their play this November 7th to the 10th, which is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Monroe Woodbury's having the Three Musketeers on the 15th and 16th. And on November 1st at the high school, we're going to be having the 35th Annual Friends and Faculty Concert. Come and hear some amazing performances by our music teacher and our community members. It's a fundraiser for scholarships for our Monroe Woodbury students, and tickets are $12 for adults and $6 for students. I will say it's been an honor to be a village trustee for over the last 2 years, and I especially want to thank Desiree and Jessica and the mayor for taking the time to answer all my questions and provide me with information and the guidance that I basically yearn for to ensure that we're making the best decision for Woodbury. I've walked well over 600 homes over the last 2 weeks, and over again, I just hear residents say they want to protect and preserve Woodbury and ensure that they're sustainable for the generations to come. I will say, I think the best moment that I've had being trustee was at the September 12th meeting when this room was packed with people, okay? People spoke from their hearts, and they had so many important questions. And I truly believe this was the start of Woodbury residents knowing that their voices matter, okay? Your voice, our community, our home, together we decide, okay? These are very powerful words to me. Vic and I have always made it a priority to listen to our residents. Over and over again, we just hear residents' desire to preserve and protect Woodbury's natural resources, ensure that we have drinking water, sewage capacity, the traffic issues we hear about. With this coming election, I just want to share with you a story. So I was going door to door on Sunday, and a man was outside washing his car. And I said to the man, I introduced myself. And the first thing he said to me, are you a Democrat or a Republican? So right there, I'm like, all right, I got a 50-50 shot. Well, I was wrong because I said Republican, and that was the wrong answer for him. What disturbed me was that the man just immediately started screaming at me. It was over the top. I've gone to many houses where people say, no, thank you. And I'm like, okay, fine. But this was screaming at me to get out of his face when I said, sir, I understand your passion for your Democratic Party, but we're talking here a local election. He still didn't, I just couldn't. And he was getting more agitated, and he was screaming and hollering. So I walked away. I mean, it was kind of a scene because there was a woman out there walking her dog who actually stopped to make sure that I walked away okay. But the reason I tell this story is because it really amazes me. It's okay to be passionate about your political party. I want you to go to the polls, and I want you to vote. If you want to vote Democrat or you want to vote Republican on a national level, on a state level, go right ahead. But no matter who goes in office, Trump or Harris, they are not going to care if we have water or sewage capacity. but Vic and I will, okay? Because we live here too, and we want that for ourselves, for our children, for our home, for our community, okay? I just urge everybody to, when you go to the polls, when you're voting on the local election line, right, the Woodbury line for Woodbury offices, I just ask that you consider putting your political affiliations aside and put Woodbury first. Go out and vote, okay? How many people complain, but at the end of the day, they don't make the time to go to the polls. And it's easier now, right? Because it's early voting. We have mail-in voting. We have the polls open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., right, Maria? Right? 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay? So it's not as difficult in the years when we just had to go to the polls. So please just go out and vote, make your voices heard. This is so important because we can together fight to keep Woodbury. We are a community at the end of the day, okay? And we have each other. So together we can do this. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Forelli.
Thank you. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I say this all the time, I really do enjoy and love seeing a big crowd of people. Especially when you have a lot of comments and you have a lot of opinions, because as Susan said, we do listen. Your comments do matter. I can't stress that enough. So what I want to talk about tonight is just a couple of things that we were discussing earlier. The sewer moratorium, okay? I want everybody to know that the sewer moratorium is, well, basically it's the county's responsibility to supply sewage for everybody in the district. It's not our problem. Well, it becomes our problem because it's their problem, so that's why we're putting a moratorium in to kind of put the brakes on everything. Let's not turn into some of the other communities around us. Like CJ said earlier, let's not make sure that things start flowing backwards instead of forwards, because we know that's going to be all kinds of issues. So we're taking advanced steps to do that, to try to put the brakes on things. And hopefully there'll be other communities after we get through with ours that will look at what we've done and they will jump on our bandwagon and keep doing it. And as Susan said, we've been out walking and knocking on doors. And one of the questions I get, besides to protect and preserve Woodbury, is the building that's going on by the State Trooper Barracks. A lot of people believe that some of that, or a good portion, that is in Woodbury. None of that is in Woodbury. Just want to make sure everybody knows that that is not Woodbury. That's KJ, Palm Tree, whoever owns that area. Which now leads me into Clovewood. Okay, the DEC approved Clovewood this week. And Susan and I believe that local municipalities need to unite and kind of try and fight this decision. We know the mayor and supervisor of Cornwall are interested in joining that fight. But I want to give you some numbers. I want you to really let these numbers sink in. And then think about the State Trooper Barracks and think about where Clovewood is going and where we're situated. They're proposing a 600-unit development over there, which turns out to about 2,056 bedrooms. Okay? That's a lot. So let those numbers sink. And now we're going to have it on both sides of us. So how is that going to affect our infrastructure? How is that going to affect our roads? How is that going to affect the traffic? Because people are going to be going back and forth, and coming through our towns, using our roads. It's that one development in itself can possibly double the entire population of South Blooming Grove as it stands today. So that's how many people we're thinking about that's coming into that area that the DEC just approved and didn't care about any of us in this room, any of us that live here. So additionally, I just want to make sure that we know that we're going to try and do something and try and get a bunch of communities together to try and fight this. It's been approved. It's probably not going to go anywhere, but we have to do something. We have to start stopping all this overdevelopment because it's a strain on our system. When you go into Monroe, down by, what's that restaurant over there? Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Bourbon Street. Okay, down by Bourbon Street in the bus stop, there's two sewer grates, okay? fumes come out of there during different times of the day. All this rotten egg smell. That's all raw sewage coming out from South Blooming Grove that's being untreated because they're just over capacity. They're not treating anything. We all know that they have the brown water, and we all know that they're trucking in water. So again, we just need to put the brakes on things. That's why we're looking at the sewer moratorium. That's why we have the water moratorium in place and the building moratorium in place. And on that note, that's pretty much all I want to say. So happy Halloween and have a good night.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vic Forelli. I will keep my comments short because it's 10:30. Thankfully, I DVR'd all my telenovelas. I do want to, Jeff, you need to get a close-up of me with the Oreo Coke Zero. So refreshing. Got me through this meeting tonight. We're wearing pink tonight in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I just wanted to make that announcement. I have nothing else to say. I love having a lot of people in the room. Please keep coming. Of course, I always say bring pastries, and nobody does. Lisa brought apple cider donuts. Everybody take one or take a quarter of one as you walk out of the room. Okay? Anyway, with no further business
If I could
discussed,
add one last event, it's Lisa's
More
event.
comments received. I will entertain a motion in a second to close this meeting.
Not for the CSC Pumpkin Smash?
No.
Pumpkin
All in
Smash
favor?
November 9th, guys, 10
Listen,
a.m.
You do that
Sweet
at
Clover
every
Farms.
meeting. Every meeting.
It's on the website.
You stop the adjournment. Our next scheduled meeting is November 14, 2024. Until then, remember, Jesus might walk on water, but Chuck Norris swims through land. Nothing. I thought that was a good one.